Indonesia, a country located off the coast of mainland Southeast Asia in the Indian and Pacific Oceans. The most populous country in Southeast Asia and the fourth most populous in the world. Indonesia is situated on an archipelago that lies across the equator. Today, let me take you to Indonesia to learn English and explore this amazing paradise. If you don't know me already, my name is Edith, your IELTS instructor, a traveler, and a digital nomad. Welcome to my channel. Indonesia was the fourth largest producer of coffee in the world in 2014. Coffee cultivation in Indonesia began in the late 1600s and early 1700s, in the early Dutch colonial period, and has played an important part in the growth of the country. Indonesia is geographically well-suited for coffee plantations near the equator and with numerous mountainous regions on its main islands, creating well-suited microclimates for the growth and productions of coffee. Indonesia is famous for kopi Luwak, comes from the Indonesian island of Java and Sumatra, an area well known for its excellent coffee. Also native to the area is a small civet-like animal. The locals call them Luwaks. These little mammals live in the trees, and one of their favorite foods is the red ripe coffee cherry. They eat the cherries, beans, and all. While the bean is in the little animal's stomach, it undergoes chemical treatments and fermentations. The bean finishes its journey through the digestive system and exits. The still intact beans are collected from the forest floor and are cleaned, then roasted and ground, just like any other coffee. Because of the strange method of collecting, there is not much kopi Luwak produced in the world, and this type of coffee can get really expensive. But on the flip side, animal rights advocates suggest that tourists should not purchase kopi Luwak. Because a lot of times to maximize the profit, the Luwaks are kept in cages fed with rotten cherries, which is a vivid example of animal cruelty. To be honest, I was in a pickle before buying the domestic flight tickets. Indonesia's everlasting problem of expensive airfares is especially acute for domestic routes in the world's largest archipelago. Travelers have found it as frustrating as policymakers. Instead of traveling domestically, the locals would rather travel outside of Indonesia to Malaysia, Singapore, and Vietnam. The tough geography of the country makes flying in Indonesia expensive, which is a key reason why air travel between its islands costs much more than anywhere else on Earth. Limited domestic competition is another culprit. While low-cost carriers such as Lion Air and Air Asia operate in the market, it is controlled by Garuda Indonesia, which has a stake of 54% in total demand. Airlines have been able to keep prices high with few alternatives for travelers because of the lack of competition. With 43 volcanoes in Indonesia, there have been a total of 184 significant eruptions over the past 1,700 years. Over 57,200 people were killed. The worst volcanic eruption in terms of deaths destroyed houses, and financial damages happened on 1815, October 4th. With the eruptions of Tambora, 11,000 people died. On average, there is at least one significant volcanic eruption in Indonesia every year. Out of 128 volcanoes in Indonesia, 80 are considered still active. Additionally, there are 5 active submarine volcanoes. Due to volcanic activity in Nawatobi, the airport of Maumere has been closed for some time. The authority has suspended their flight to Maumere. In fact, we are also affected and had to fly from another airport, which adds 2 or 3 hours more of traveling to our destination. On the way, we can see the trees, crops, and houses are covered with volcanic ashes. When a volcano erupts, a lot of times nearby villages have to be evacuated. Relief teams composed of police, military, search and rescue officials are usually dispatched to the area to mitigate the situation. Except for volcanic eruptions, Indonesia is also vulnerable to earthquakes and tsunami. Vocab list: populous, archipelago, equator, cultivation, geographically, plantation, microclimate, fermentation, digestive system, still intact. Grind, the flip side, rotten, animal cruelty, I'm in a pickle, everlasting, acute, policy maker, culprit, low-cost carriers, a stick-off. Eruption, financial damages, suspend, volcanic ashes, relief team, military, search and rescue official, dispatch, mitigate. During the earthquake and tsunami in 1992, Babi Island was the most affected region, and the government forbade the island from being inhabited since then. But the underwater paradise here is still thriving. The crack is possibly the most famous dive site on Babi Island. This crack was formed during the 1992 earthquake, and now is the sanctuary for a lot of critters. Instead of the traditional gas station, the motorcycles here get gas from the local shops or homes that sell half or full bottles of gasoline. Having a lot of volcanoes means a chance to find a hot spring. This hot spring is in the middle of a forest. After 30 minutes easy trekking from Blitted village, we crossed 2 streams of river. Arriving in this very remote area, where the three springs meet: very hot, cold, and warm. It's a secluded location where you will end up there all alone, since local people are not willing to trek so far. There are small pools where you can relax. The track is not well indicated, but it's not necessary to get a local guide. Being in Indonesia, it's not difficult to find snake fruit. Snake fruit is a natural growing gem of Southeast Asia. The outside of the fruit is scaly like a snake and prickly like a cactus, but the inside is sweet but sour like a pineapple. Its flesh is slightly acidic, giving your tongue a citrus taste. But if I were you, I would not consume too much of this fruit. The local said it is known to cause constipation. Today is a day particularly important in Indonesia. It's Independence Day. The Independence Day of Indonesia is a national holiday in Indonesia commemorating the anniversary of Indonesia's proclamation of independence on 17th August 1945. Formally, Indonesians usually celebrate Independence Day by doing flag ceremonies in schools and offices. Students are gathered in the field wearing uniforms, singing national anthems, praying for the late national heroes, and we read the proclamation text. Vocab List: forbid, thriving, critters, gasoline, well indicated, scaly, prickly, acidic, constipation, Independence Day, proclamation, national anthems, late, national heroes.